The purpose of this video is for me to be able to respond to some of the most common arguments I saw in the comment section of my last video about harassment. If you have not seen that video, you should watch it before you watch this video, because otherwise this video probably won't make much sense.
In that video, Milo basically says the same thing in this video, but goes into depth about people in his school knowing who he is, harassing him, threatening him, and trolls leaving comments on his video. I'll link the video in the description if any of you want to check it out. But my problems in that video are the same in this video, so it'll be like I'm tackling two videos at once. I said the word videos a lot in that sentence.
One of the most common responses I got in the comments were from people saying that none of the harassment that I'm getting has anything to do with me being non-binary and transgender. To those people, I say, you completely do not understand my situation or what I'm talking about at all about this genre of YouTube videos.
So, vlogging then? Is that the type of platform you're talking about? Or talking about non-binary transgender people?
In fact, most of the arguments that I'm going to be responding to in this video are from people who think that the harassment all started from the video I made about subconscious biases.
Let's watch a bit of it, shall we?
All white people are racist, all men are misogynistic, all cisgender people are transphobic, all members of a majority are biased against the members of the minority or oppressed group. In fact, most people are racist, misogynistic, transphobic, ableist, etc.
Yeah, so maybe you shouldn't call people racist, homophobes, and transphobic, huh? It's almost like calling people that might get them angry. How bizarre.
Which some people think I removed. I actually just changed the title, but I'm going to talk about that later. Really, this harassment issue is something that I've been dealing with since the beginning of this year, and that a lot of my friends also deal with. It is absolutely not just about this one specific video. Alright? Okay, cool. I'm not saying that I'm attacked purely because of my transgender and non-binary identities. However, those do play a significant part in the harassment that I have received.
Okay, so I'm not going to pretend that you don't get some comments talking about your gender, because you do. But that's only because that's the central focus of your channel and of your personality. And also, what about the comments that respond to you in an intelligent manner? I'll bring some of these comments up later on in the video, but this is only the tip of the iceberg of Milo's disingenuous behavior.
I've been getting this sort of targeted harassment since the very beginning of this year, when a fairly popular YouTuber responded to a video that I made with one of my friends about transgender people's pronouns and educating people on how to use pronouns for transgender people. Since then, other people have made roasting videos that weren't just specifically about being transgender, but their responses were also sort of transphobic. There is a huge difference from just being uneducated about non-binary genders and then trying to make an effort to learn about non-binary genders. But a lot of people have responded to my videos not even making any attempts to educate themselves and just spewed out just gross transphobic arguments specifically against non-binary people.
Oh, I'm sorry, Milo. Are you the arbiter of non-binary people? Do you speak for all of them? Are you the fucking Lorax of non-binary and trans people?
In their responses, lots of people have referred to me as a creature or compared non-binary genders to identifying as an inanimate object or animal or something else that is not what non-binary genders are. Or lots of people have also just disregarded and completely disrespected the fact that non-binary genders exist and are real.
Yes, there are people like that. We call them trolls. People being facetious and wanting to jab at you to make you make videos like this, where you completely give them spotlight and act like the innocent little victim that you are. Aw, poor Milo.
Lots of other people intentionally misgender me in their comments and in their responses. Like, I get it if you just don't know, and you don't know to check that my pronouns are in my description, because they are, preferably he or they, but a lot of people see that I put my pronouns in my description and then choose to not refer to me as those because they want to disrespect me. Of course, not all transgender YouTubers receive the same level of transphobic harassment as I receive. Part of that is because of the type of content that I make. I make content in which I talk about my experiences being transgender, in which I talk about my experiences facing transphobia and trying to fight transphobia. There are a lot of YouTubers who are transgender and who don't talk about these things, so they don't get the same type of responses that I do.
All right. Some examples of these YouTubers, anyone you want to reference or... No? Oh, okay. Well, Milo, that's because you solely focus on your gender and these transphobic people. So, yeah, Milo, people are going to bring up that shit and talk about you being non-binary. So...
Because I talk about my transgender identity online a lot, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's just something I have a lot of experiences with and that I choose to talk about. But because I talk about it, some people think that I'm shoving it in their face, which is a really gross argument that reminds me of when people would say, "Oh, I'm okay with you being gay, just don't kiss your partner in public because I don't want that shoved in my face." That's what you sound like when you tell me to not shove my transgender identity in your face by talking about it in my videos. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch.
Oh, okay. So, Milo calling everyone in Western society racist, transphobic, and misogynistic, and shoving that in your face, that's fine. But if some people put a comment on his video, criticizing him on his views, and disagreeing is apparently in the wrong. But there is a point to this, even if Milo doesn't know it. Yes, people don't have to watch your videos, just as you don't have to look or respond or watch the comments or videos responding to you. So really, I don't understand why you don't practice what you preach, Milo.
So to sum up my response, no, I don't purely get harassed because of my transgender identity, but you have to try really, really hard to ignore the transphobia that I get if you're willing to say that I am not attacked for being transgender. That does play a role in this conversation.
Then stop making videos then. You choose to put your ideas in a public market, in an open place where people can respond to you in any way, shape, or form. So if you think a good number of people attack you for your gender, then why not just stop? No one's forcing you to make these videos.
The next argument I would like to respond to is this argument people make that I am not being harassed, I am just receiving criticism.
Yes, you do receive criticism, that's a fact. But it's a mix of both. But you're trying to say you get one more than the other, and that's simply not the case. You focus on all the harassment instead of the actual criticism you get. And when people call you out on your bullshit, you just chuck them up as harassers too. It's ridiculous.
By saying that I'm against roasting videos which incite harassment, I by no means mean that I'm against response videos, because response videos are awesome and they are constructive and they don't hurt people.
So, care to share some of these videos? Give us some links to these roasting videos? Or are you just going to link us to people that you think gave a good argument?
That's why I recently created a playlist for people who have made response videos to me, because I love getting response videos when they actually don't incite harassment, and a lot of them do really make me think, and I greatly appreciate them. Can't overemphasize how much I appreciate response videos. The reason why the majority of these roasting videos are not actual critique videos is because they all engage in quote mining, aka they take parts of my videos out of context and respond to the argument that it seems like I'm making in those clips, even though if you watch the entire video, that's not actually the argument that I'm making. All white people are racist, all men are misogynistic, all cisgender people are transphobic, all members of a majority are biased against the members of the minority or oppressed group. In fact, most people are racist, misogynistic, transphobic, ableist, etc.
See, this is not taken out of context. Oh, but it is, because you say those aren't supposed to be insults. Well, all religious people are bigots, all college kids are just partying drunk assholes, and all Americans are just lazy, fat, disgusting idiots who have heart problems. But those aren't supposed to be insults. That's just how Western society is. Now, do you see how some people could take some offense to what I just said right there? So no, you aren't taken out of context. That's responding to what you said.
That's why I changed the title of my video about subconscious biases, to hopefully redirect people to the point that I was actually making, instead of just the most controversial line that everyone likes to take out of context.
You imply in your video that we as a Western society are unaware that we are racist, misogynistic, and transphobic, because we assign gender to other people and because there are a small number of non-binary people who live in the world, and that we should just completely reject the notion of gender because there are people who feel like they shouldn't be assigned gender, and that is a ridiculous notion. So no, I didn't take you out of context when I show
all men are misogynistic, all cisgender people are transphobic, all members of a majority are biased against the members of the minority or oppressed group. A lot of people were upset that I didn't talk about my subconscious biases video in my video about harassment. I don't really see that as being relevant to the conversation. Again, because of the quote mining, people weren't actually responding to the argument that I made in the video. Since that video has completely basically lost all meaning because of the quote mining, I am remaking that video to re-argue my points and do things better than I did the first time around.
Because you realize that what you said and how you worded that video was asinine and absurd and meant to get you more views and stir the drama pot. I hope that's the reason you're doing it, because I really doubt that.
That's why I didn't talk about it in my video about harassment. Also, if you in any way think that I deserved harassment for making that video, you are a terrible human being, and you should rethink why saying something wrong on the internet is means for continuous harassment for months after the fact.
Alright, I don't think you deserve to get death threats or harassed. I don't think anyone really deserves that, and I think we can all agree that you don't deserve death threats or to be harassed. But I think you deserve the backlash you get for putting your opinion on the internet and acting like you didn't expect this to happen. It comes off as extremely disingenuous and dishonest.
I have responded to lots of people who gave me actual good criticism. I just don't see the point in responding to people who don't actually argue against the actual argument that I made.
Oh, this is my favorite part. I've been waiting for this part because it's fucking rich. So, you say you respond to a lot of people who gave you good criticism. Well, I was curious and looked at this video, your subconscious biases video, and your YouTube Let Me Help You to Help Me video, and I only found a couple of times where you've actually responded in those videos. But I found a good number of responses that are actually intellectual and not harassing. Let's take a look at them, shall we? You're the one targeting people here when you called practically everyone under the sun that wasn't you a racist. I don't care how you identify yourself in the slightest, but I, along with others, care how you identify us. Labeling us all as racists? Need to open your eyes to the real world. You live in a world of hate that only you created. If you can't take the heat, then you shouldn't be on the internet. I'm sick of people prioritizing censorship rather than teaching people to suck it up and grow a spine when going into public places such as the internet. People will always criticize you. People will always talk shit about you. The least you can do is to ignore them and to do your own thing. Whatever happened to the old, don't care about what other people say. Milo, I'm gonna make this very, very simple for you. If you wade into the free marketplace of ideas with nutty, unscientific assertions and hypotheses born from a lack of introspection and intellectual inadequacy, the response will be mixed. Some might take the time to respond in an elevated intellectual level. Others, seeing how fatuous and ridiculous your claims and assertions are, will see no need to do this and will simply roast in response videos, or perhaps comment, calling you names, making death threats, etc. This is even more likely to occur when you essentially slander as bigots large demographics based upon arbitrary factors of skin tone, sexuality, etc. You bring this so-called harassment on yourself. Your espoused views are so out of step with reality that most people will not bother being intellectual and will go straight for the cheap laughs at your expense. In short, your views are ridiculous, expect to be ridiculed. Dear Milo, you've brought all of this harassment upon yourself. You've called the entire world racist and bigoted for merely existing. Accept your very tiny community and yourself whom you consider better than anybody else because reasons. This was your freedom of speech. You have the right to say whatever you want, but you can't demand to be allowed to say what you want to say, be extremely insulting in your speech, and then play the victim when people debunk your arguments in response. You're being a hypocrite and you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know what gender you are. I don't care what gender you are. What and who you are isn't of any importance to me whatsoever. I just think your opinions on subconscious bias lack any form of logical evidence. They also come off as ignorant and arrogant. I strongly believe that it is safe to say you are not being harassed for labels you give yourself, but the opinions you stand by. People found what you had to say so ridiculous that this is the result of it. If you don't care about cisgendered feelings, as you stated in your Why I'm an Unlikable YouTuber video, why are you demanding special treatment? If you call everyone who's white racist and so on, why are you so shocked that people don't use your proper pronouns? You are so narcissistic, I've lost count of the hypocrisy and mental gymnastics you've shown here. Milo, I have asked you so many times. You never respond. I might actually have some respect for you if you answered my question. How can someone be a trans boy, transgender boy, don't know if saying trans is wrong, and non-binary? From my understanding, it's either one or the other, because identifying as a boy is binary, but then you contradict it by saying you are non-binary. I seriously cannot take you seriously and respect you because this identity doesn't make sense. And before you go off on me, I'm not saying being non-binary or gender fluid doesn't exist and or isn't invalid. And I'm not saying being a transgender boy/girl is wrong, I'm just saying in your case it makes no sense. I feel like a lot of people have this question too and would really like clarification. I also feel like if you answered this, you might get a bit more respect here. Now this comment is my favorite. It's too bad. I've subscribed to your channel after Ashley Mardell mentioned you in a video. As the mom of a gender/sexuality/world questioning 17-year-old daughter, I thought your ideas could be so helpful, and they were for a minute, but then you became more intent on being extreme and controversial than on sharing information, and your unique perspective on your life and your connection to the beautiful LGBTQ community was lost. The best YouTubers I know create channels where the information and communication is a give and take. The community learns from each other. The creator encourages an open dialogue, admits that they have as much to gain and learn as the viewer. You have so many amazing things to share, but please take it from someone who is nearly 3 times your age. You are far too young to assume that you know it all. And that's the vibe you put out there, whether intentional or not. Your channel is off the track. Unless you assume some responsibility for how it happened, it will never be the great source of information and support that it could be. I guess that's up to you. Wow, what a good response. It's not harassing in any way, shape, or form, and actually gives some encouragement and some ideas on how to help Milo. And what does Milo do? He doesn't respond to it. Nope, did not respond to any of these comments. But I found a couple that he did respond to, so let's listen to those. How can you be called they? They is a fucking plural pronoun. Do you not understand how the English language work? You do not understand how the English language work. Made me laugh. What the fuck is wrong with people nowadays? They're so sensitive. Like, you are a girl, not a man, or something in between. Seems like you're the one who is sensitive, M8, if you're offended by me being non-binary, ; It's funny how Milo contradicts himself in this statement, and you can go look for yourself. There's more comments actually giving genuine responses, genuine questions that he doesn't answer. But it's funny how the trolling comments, or the comments that are being facetious, he gives the time of day to. Kind of makes you think, don't it?
Lastly, I want to respond to the comment that, oh, this harassment isn't that big of a deal because it's all in your head. The thing is, that's the way that harassment online largely works. People want to make you live in fear if they think it'll somehow control your actions or make you change what you're doing online, which is wrong. It's wrong.
So you remaking your video on subconscious biases and making a video about the subject, is it changing what you do online? So it is in your head? So it isn't a big deal then, right?
That's why people threaten to dox people and threaten to harm people. Even though the majority of these threats don't come to fruition, it still means that people will live in fear of saying what they want to say because of the threat of doxing or of physical harm. I'm dealing with some pretty scary and creepy people out there. I can't really talk about everything that I'm dealing with. I just appreciate it when people will condemn people who try to actually cause harm or threaten harm to people because of what they say online, because that's wrong. In all cases, it's wrong.
Well, I guess we agree on something, Milo. But really, this is your own fault, and nobody else's. If you hadn't made those types of videos, you wouldn't have gotten the harassment. End of story.
I think I hit on most of the main arguments. If you want someone to use as an example for how to make good response videos that actually criticize someone's ideas and don't incite harassment, I think a wonderful person to check out would be Megan Tonjes, because Megan Tonjes does response videos in just the most beautiful way. It's just that a response video gets dangerously close to being a video that incites harassment when it engages in quote mining, when it personally attacks the person in the original video, when you have that inappropriate tone that I talked about in the first video, and then when you have all those things together and then you provide a very easy way to access the original video, that's how you incite harassment. Alright, peace!
Well, that's the end of that shit, and thank God too. But I played that entire video because I didn't want Milo, in case he ever watches this video, to claim I didn't watch the entire thing, to claim that I harassed him in any way, shape, or form, because I didn't. I gave my genuine thoughts and my opinions and my questions towards Milo. And it is up to him if he wants to answer those questions, but I highly doubt it. Oh man, that video gave me a massive headache. Oh my God, where's the Tylenol?